Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is welcoming you back to our channel, Info Compass 360. I'm your host, Bob Fees AI. This is our choice channel for migration abroad, infotainment, classic shows, and healthy lifestyles, and so on. Kindly like and share our videos and hit the subscribe button. Also, you can turn on the notifications so as to have all our videos as they are all released. So today we have an esteemed guest presenter who will introduce himself shortly and talk to us in details about nursing in America, Canada, Australia, and the UK. Where is the best place to go? So thanks for coming. Can you kindly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Oh, thank you, my brother, and thank you for this invitation as well. It's an honor. So,
You're welcome.
for viewers, my name is Peter Olubayo. I'm the CEO of Visa Pathfinders. I started the channel a few years ago. So we have a YouTube channel where we provide migration tips and advice for people. And our mission is to be part of people's success story, to create as many success story as possible. So you can feel free to put the search on your YouTube, just search for Peter Olubayo or Visa Pathfinders. You should be able to find us there. Once again, it is my pleasure to join you here today.
Thank,
Hopefully.
thank you so much. And we are happy to have you here also. Can you briefly tell us about the licensure and registration process for nurses and midwives in the four countries?
All right, so this is what I'm going to do because we don't want the video to be too long. So I'm going to just, briefly explain nearly everything. Then we can come back to talk about them extensively. So if you think we have explained something as, watching this video and you want more explanation, you can leave Bob Fees AI comment to this video and we can make extensive video on any of the subject. Okay, but so I will run through the licensure for the UK, Australia, Canada, and I think is it the US now. Okay, so let's start with the UK. First of all, I'm a registered nurse in the UK. I will break it down to like 4 or 5 steps. Number one is to register on the NMC um, website, which is just something you can do by clicking. Before then, they will ask you to do a few bits of self-assessment, but that's just like a walk in the park. So once you register, they are going to ask you, do you have your English proficiency? So of course, you have to tick yes for that. And after that, NMC will qualify you for assessment, which include the CBT computer-based test, which you can write in your home country, is provided by Pearson VUE. And following that, once you pass that stage, you have your IELTS. Now you upload everything. You are going to be invited by NMC as well to sit for your OSCE. So once you pass your OSCE, the next point will be for them to generate your health and character declaration, which you can get from your doctor and from your licensure body. For instance, if you are from Nigeria, that will be NMC in Nigeria. Okay, so once you get that done, NMC is going to register you. Moving on to Canada. Canada's own involves you registering with the NNAS, which is a body just like CGFNS of the US. They are going to do your credential evaluation. And after that, they would, of course, you must have in mind which province regulatory body do you want to register for. They will pass your report to the regulatory body, let's say British Columbia, Nova Scotia, what have you. So once they pass that over to them, they're going to ask you for more details if they need it. Depending on the assessment, you might qualify for direct authorization to test and give you authorization to test for, and you just go for your NCLEX. Also, if they require, you have to complete jurisprudence examination and you just have to sort out your migration. Let me just see that I've not left out anything. Of course, you need the English language proficiency examination for that one too. We'll still come back to which level of English language do you need. Following that, I would like to talk about the US. So US one is just nearly the same as that of the Canadian regulatory body. You need to register with CGFNS, which is the same as NNAS in Canada. So once they produce your credential evaluation, they send it to the board of nursing, the state board of nursing. You must have decided which state board of nursing you want to register with. Is it Texas? Is it New Mexico? And all that. So once they do that, they will also issue you an authorization to test ATT, and you go for your NCLEX RN. You also need English language proficiency at the right level for the US too, and you sort out your migration. So we talk about the UK, US, Australia, Canada. The next one will be Australia. We start with the self-assessment, which is just them asking you, what is your initial nursing registration? They want to categorize you to stream A, B, or C. So we have made an assumption that you are trained outside of these well-developed countries. So this video is aimed. The information we are providing, we assume that you are from, Africa, from Asia, and all sorts. Okay, so if you get your training from there, if you don't have a qualification from UK, from Canada, they will likely place you on stream C. Stream C means that your qualification is not well, they don't assess it as at par with that of the Australian nursing, and they would then recommend you to go for a bridging program. So which could take between 3 to 12 months. Now, some other people are fortunate, they don't have to go for that bridging program. You might just have to do the OBA, outcome-based assessment. So outcome-based assessment comprises of two tests as well, two tests of competencies. One is the NCLEX, like the MCQ NCLEX RN, just almost the same as that of US, Canada, and the next one is OSCE. Okay, so and of course you still need a certain level of English proficiency for Australia Board of Nursing as well.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. Moving on, is there any one of the 4 countries, in your opinion, will you say is easier?
Yeah, as you can tell from what I listed out, they all have their intricacies, but generally over the years, historically, people believe that the UK nursing registration is quite less cumbersome in terms of how many examinations do you have to do and the fund involved. So the UK own, you can do your computer-based test in your own country, and all you need to do, in fact, previously, like when I moved to the UK, I just passed my IELTS and I passed my CBT, and like the organization funded my flight and every other accommodation for 3 months and all that. So generally, historically, people believe that the UK might be a lot easier. But things have changed and things are changing. Now, also Canada, there have been lots of provinces that will bypass NNAS because NNAS used to take a long time in the past. So some of them bypass NNAS, and we ask you to send your document directly to them, meaning that they're now doing their credential evaluation by themselves, bypassing NNAS or CGFNS. So provinces like British Columbia, Nova Scotia, and Alberta, as far as I am aware of. So yeah, I would say that give or take, the UK might be in between the UK and Canada at the moment.
Okay, thank you. You briefly talked about the language proficiency requirements in the UK to our viewers. So I would like you to buttress more. Are there any language proficiency requirements and for licensure purposes in any of these 4 countries?
Yes. It varies from each country from one to one another. So, but basically, IELTS is acceptable in all of them. In the UK, you can do OET. I think in Australia too, OET is acceptable. In the US, TOEFL, PTE is there. In Australia, PTE is there as well. In Canada, you have CELBAN in Canada, which is, in Canada, they speak both English and French. So if you have French proficiency, you can submit your TEB as well. So I suppose what else I need to talk about is the level you must attain. So I'm going to just talk about the 2 common, maybe IELTS alone or including OET. In the UK, you need a band 7 in listening, speaking, and which other one? Writing can be 6.5. Okay, so that's what you just need to bear in mind. The others has to be 7.0. Okay, and And of course, if you have that, your overall is going to still be 7.0. Also, there are also other intricacies, but I will just leave it here. I've made videos on my channel on how to enter the UK, get registered without IELTS and all that. You might want to look it up, but it's never straightforward. But one thing you need to bear in mind in the UK is that if you fall short of, we said you need band 7 in all of them apart from writing. So if short fall by 0.5, meaning that 6.5 in others and 6.0 in writing, you can club your result, meaning that you can use two results to, in as much as they are within 12 months. I think it used to be 6 months, but now they change it. If in as much as they are within 12 months from each other, so you are good to club two results. Now, Australia is quite straightforward. It is 7.0 in all. There is
Wow.
nothing, no two ways about it at all.
No shortcuts.
In the yeah. Yeah. So in the US, you need an overall of 6.5, but your speaking has to be 7.0. So, like I said, overall 6.5, 7.0 in speaking, and the rest you can have 6.0 even in the rest of them. They must not be less than 6.0. But this is how IELTS works. Once you have 7.0 in one, you have 6 somewhere, 6.5 somewhere, you definitely will have an overall of 6.5. Okay, that's it. In Canada, also, you need to have a speaking of not less than 7.0 and overall minimum of 6.5 as well. So kind of the same thing as the US. Also bear in mind that IELTS in most of these countries, the expiry date is 2 years. Okay.
Okay.
And for PTE, you like 94 and above. For OET, it has to be band B plus. Okay. So I won't like to go into that because of time.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Moving
You're welcome.
on, how easy is this to secure a job in these countries, and especially from foreign countries when you're coming from a foreign country? And are there any
All
barriers
right.
that?
So honestly, once you get your registration sorted, the rest is quite easy. So that is broadly. But like I mentioned, I think from your first question, I started talking about immigration changes happening in this country. So for instance, so first of all, barrier number one that is keeping most nurses in their own country is English language proficiency. So you need to sort out your English language proficiency, go for that IELTS exam, go for that PT, go for that TOEFL, or any ones that is applicable for your country of destination that you are looking forward to. Secondly, finances. So, of course, you can find a way around it. In as much as you get into that country, the first 6 months might be struggles and all, but you'll be able to get sorted in every way financially, in as much as you get your registration sorted. Now, also moving on to what is happening right now. So I will take the US for an example. There is something called retrogression in the US. Even though you have your NCLEX RN and everything now, there is retrogression which takes like 2 years. So there's a backlog of registered nurses who have passed their NCLEX. As we talk, as you might be watching this video like 3 months down the line and things have changed, but there's something called retrogression right now in the US. In the UK where I live, like I mentioned that 5 years ago when I came to this country, we got like 3 to 5 offers and we just have to pick from one of them. It was so widely available, but because of lack of fund and everyone is cracking down on immigration, um there is the number of vacancies that are employing and sponsoring pre-registration nurses. So you need to get that right. We came in as pre-registration nurses before our OSCE, meaning that we came to the UK before OSCE, before we have even NMC pin, and the employer started paying us salary and still funded our husky training. But right now it's difficult to get that. So a lot of people now go through the self-funded route. You pass your husky, pay for yourself, get to the UK, and then you apply for jobs. And literally, to be fair with you, there are vacancies, on field vacancies everywhere. So I would say that, yeah, there exist some barriers currently, but what we can do is to sort out our own registration from our own end. And before you know it, immigration policies keep changing every day.
Okay, thank you for that. How or where can one search and secure these jobs? Is there any
Yeah,
site or any platform available for that?
yeah, I would advise anyone looking to move to any of these countries to, because the websites are specific for the country. So in the UK, for instance, we have what it's called track jobs. All the NHS jobs are there, track jobs, or you check NHS England. Apart from that, we have indeed.co.uk or uk.indeed.com and few other ones like CV Library and lots more. In Canada, I would recommend Job Bank. Provinces and territories, they have their own job website as well. And they also have all the Indeed in the world and all that. In Australia, the first recommended place is seek.com. I think seek.com.au or something. Just type SEEK. That is the first point of contact for any Australian
Thank you
job.
for that. So, what is the
Welcome, sir.
average salary like in the countries, and which country paid the highest salary?
All right, so let me try and look for something on here so I can give you, you know,
Okay,
speaking about salaries in the UK. Salary. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to use average salary because average
okay,
salary, it's
it
kind of
differ.
fluid. Someone
Yeah,
might be someone might be earning 60K and the other one is earning 300K. So it
that's
does
good.
to me, it doesn't really a good reflection of someone that want to migrate today. What are you likely going to get? So what I use to measure countries in terms of migrants migrating now is the starting salary. So in the UK, the starting salary for nurses in England is 28,507 British pound. But I'm going to, for ease of comparison, I'm going to convert all of them to US dollars. So that is barely below 40,000 US dollars. Okay. All right. So meaning that they would really count your experience. When I came here, I didn't start at the base, and a lot of people don't have to start at the base, but you probably average salary, if someone finished school in the UK, you are starting on less than 40K um, US dollars per annum. Now, in Canada, we should be looking at in US dollars about 45,000 US dollars. In Australia, most of them, they will tell you in Australia now, for instance, where maybe your starting salary is, so
Let's
your
say
starting salary can also be just about 45,000 US dollars. So
exactly.
45,000 US dollars is probably more than 70,000 AUD, So, which other countries have I not touched? So, I've talked about the UK, we've talked, and the US itself. US, your starting salary could be as not less than 60,000 USD per year. Okay, so if you look at all that
Sounds
I've
like
even
fun.
mentioned,
Yeah,
you can see that the US pays more. The
more. Yeah.
USA pays more, and UK pays the least among them. Okay, and then when we talk about pay, you also have to look at disposable income. How much is left after the cost of living? I'm sure that the US still is going to be on top among all of them.
Well, thank you for that information. I believe everyone wishes to go to US. So,
So
which
if I
of
if
these?
I were to rank them, I would say in terms of salary, the US, followed by Australia and Canada, they fight over it. So, but Australia,
Okay,
Canada. So a lot of Australians say when they compare each other, they say Australia pay more, but on paper, Canada pays a little bit slightly more. So I would
yeah,
say US, Australia, Canada, and the UK is far
the
from them.
UK. Wow, thank you so much for the information.
You're
So,
welcome, sir.
which of these countries, in your opinion, do you think have the highest demand?
Okay, so come to think of it, the US has about 350 million people.
Well, not a bad
In
so.
terms of population as at 2024, and the UK, which is next to it, is 68 million, less than 70 million, less than times five, like 20% of the
Yeah,
US. So you can imagine that there will be lots of demand in the US than any of these countries. So
Definitely.
Canada should be like 40 million
Yeah.
or so, while Australia is like 26 million. So demand, you can't compare. So the
Okay.
US will always stand tall as in this as it is today. We can even compare the demand in one of the states in the US to some of these countries. So demand is higher or highest in the US. And then what we also look at in terms of demand, in terms of where can people migrate to also, is that how many nurses are being produced in that country. For instance, now the UK loses uh, they lose their nurses to because of low pay and to other countries. So you can see that there might be demand, even though the population is not as high as the US. But of course, I would say the US will have has the greatest demand for nurses, and of course, UK, Canada, and the list of them among all of these will be Australia as of today. But things keep changing.
Okay, thank you. Which specialization areas of nursing are in the highest demand generally abroad, in your opinion?
Okay, so like you said that generally, so
Yeah.
each country has whatsoever the demand, what they need to meet the population's need. But
Mm.
generally, what I observe is that if you are in aged care, which the US call geriatric nursing, because of a lot of people are now growing older, people are
Mm.
living longer. So aged care nurses are always in demand. Okay. Secondly, I would say mental health, because people also have increasing mental health challenges. So mental health and psychiatric nurses are also broadly generally in demand. And lastly, I would say highly specialized nurses. For instance, nurse practitioners, they are always in demand because every country need more of them than every other, kind of profession, kind of cadres. So yeah, so I would say those three. But if you look at the US, for instance, you probably will see a little bit of differences here and there. And even when we talk about which of these ones are being paid the most, you might still see a bit of differences. But if you are looking to migrate abroad, look into aged care, look into mental health and specialized nursing.
Okay. Are there any special incentives for nursing in these countries? In any of these countries,
Yeah,
are there any
I,
special
I, I
incentives?
think, yeah, I think no matter which of these country we consider, nurses are quite fortunate because it's a profession that is in demand. So nurses get sign-on bonuses, even retention bonuses, competitive, comprehensive benefits. Like the US, you get your health insurance, which is a major issue.
Yeah.
There's just and then like relocation cost, relocation support, those are incentives that I think nurses enjoy compared to their counterparts. And when we look at how many nurses, like for instance, also in the US, you enter the US, Australia, Canada, you enter these countries with PR, with your permanent resident, with your green card in the US. So this has a lot of benefits nurses enjoy compared to other skilled workers generally.
Okay, thank you for that. So
You're
let's
welcome.
move on to the final question. Which of them would you like to migrate to if you have a choice?
Yeah, so people have different reasons why they move from one country to another.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's quite individualized. It all depends on what you are looking for. But if you ask me, I would say, for instance, I work in the UK and I have a New Zealand and Australian nursing license. So that tells you that maybe I might be
Wow.
flying to Australia. But give and take, I do enjoy the UK, even though the pay is low, the cost of living is high. But yeah, um, if not Australia, then I would say the US for me because of the money.
Okay.
So for everybody, some people would say, "Oh, I consider the safety in the US, security, raising children, or whatsoever it is." For our viewers, I would just say you should factor in all these things and not just the money, because if you look at the money alone, you probably might be missing a good load of other information that might be fundamental to you finding joy
Yeah.
in that country that you are moving to.
Wow. Thank you so much for the information and the patience you have to go on through this interview. So this is to sincerely thank you and all the insights you've offered regarding nursing in the America, UK, Australia, and Canada, where is the best place to go. So thank you, and we do hope you to have you back again soon on our channel. So viewers,
Yeah, yeah,
we want to
definitely.
sincerely thank you for staying tuned. Kindly like and share our videos, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification so all our new videos can drop on your various devices. This to sincerely thank you for all the insights offered regarding this topic. So we do hope to have you back again soon. So, viewers, we want to sincerely thank you for staying tuned. Until I return here again, I'm your host, Bob, and I say I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, have a
All